Okay, so picking up where I left off last week, I've put the assembly back in that controls the door mechanism for these headlight doors, and everything's painted up and it's ready to go back on the car. So I've got to drop that front grille out, so I've got a place to grab the nose in the front and on the top to try and get it hooked onto the car, and we'll see how that all goes. Wish me luck.
All right, so test them out on the car and see how they look relative to the headlights. Yeah, that's about right. So anyway, now I got to try and see if I can bolt all of this up. All right, so I've just bolted the nose semi-permanently. This is the second to the last time it'll get bolted to the car. Of course, the final time will be after it gets paint. But everything's took a little time to make sure everything was aligned. Had to take the nose back off and do some clearance work. Get some all the this grill is screwed up to the nose, secured. I had to clearance these holes coming in to the fenders. There's only two on either side, but they're a bear to get to because you kind of have to do it blind because they're in there to really only the most difficult ones that are in there. But again, I had to do some clearancing of all the holes before I put the nose back on to make sure that it was a little bit easier to put on. I had it at some pretty tight tolerances when I built the nose, and of course welding it up, everything shifts a little bit. Just been monkeying around with that actually. I got sidetracked also on this. I went back to the trunk over here and temporarily stuck this rubber seal in here to see how the trunk lid would close and latch with the seal in place. And I had been having a little trouble where I had to slam this thing, and it took me a while before I could figure out what it was. It wouldn't latch. My trunk lid, you just drop it and it latches so easy. Also what I noticed with my trunk lid is it disengages, but you have to get your fingers in there. It doesn't really pop up. Well, there's a little spring over here that puts pressure on the housing here for the latch, so that when you close it, when you pop the latch, it wants to spring up. Well, like I said, I had no problem with mine. I guess it was a weaker spring because it came out of a different car. The Challenger deck lid's way heavier, so I guess they put a heavier spring in it. I didn't have any problems with Don's car, but he had a heavier deck lid because this is a little tiny thing compared to Don's car. The deck lid was all the way back to about there, so the weight of the deck lid really matters. Like I said, mine came off of an 06 Charger, and they have a way lighter deck lid. As you can see, we used way back in the beginning. I was trying to use the Challenger pistons, and they were practically breaking there was so much pressure with those pistons. They're practically pushing the deck lid off of its hinges. So I went to the ones like I have in my car, which are off of a Charger, a little bit more lightweight. But even them, right now, they're pretty stout. So I was having a little trouble. So I had to play around with the location of that spring a little bit to get this thing to latch a little easier. As it gets paint and Bondo, it'll gain a little bit more weight, but I wanted to make sure that you didn't have to slam it every single time to get it closed. But that's about what it's doing right now, that's about fine. Like I said, when you go to pop the latch, which I've still got this temporary piece under here so I can manually open this up, it doesn't really pop up, but it does disengage. You can see how fast that thing goes up. Those pistons are really for something a whole lot heavier than that, but those are the ones I used on my car, and they seem to work pretty good. Of course, my car had a lot more miles on it. The pistons wear in after a while, so it doesn't quite come up that fast. At any rate, I got to monkeying with that. It's probably I spent a day with that latch off about 100 times trying to get that spring rotated to just the right amount, because you can't eliminate it altogether. Which because what it also does is it kind of, there's a little bit of slack, as you would imagine, between this and the latch itself once it's engaged. So it wants to kind of rattle. And that spring is essential to kind of keep a little pressure on it so that it just stays in one position and doesn't bounce. So I had to play with too much tension, so I was having to slam this deck lid to get it to latch, or not enough pressure, and it was jiggling, and that took forever. But it's done right now, and there's going to be a lot of stuff like that as I close in on trying to finish this thing up. But right now I'm working on. I've just taken this lower panel that goes under the steering column and the light switch here, and I just installed this rocker switch. Basically, this rocker switch is for the headlight doors. So now I've got to make up the actual harness that goes into the car. I've got to mount up all this equipment that I have here and get that all fished through around the engine and everything like that. And so I'll be monkeying around with that. Probably not going to be a whole lot of content this week, but when you got these kind of projects, they take up a lot of time. Okay, I found a nice pathway through the bulkhead, through the firewall, I should say, with a bulkhead fixture that was already coming through with some wiring. So that's the wiring for the switch there, and basically I've come through. Let me see if I can get a light on here. Down in here, I basically took this grommet out, took the tape off, ran my wires through that, and which was already coming through with these wires, and then popped it all back through, and I ran my wires across the top through that sheath, and just tucked them in around on top of this air conditioning line, loop around here, and then I'll have I'm going to mount a panel with my electronics to control the lights, doors, I should say, and we'll go on from there. Okay, so I've got the panel in now, and the rocker switch is in there, and this is the box I had to come up with to mount this relay. It'll mount inside this box like that. I'm using the old mounting points for the original headlights to put this piece in. So I've got a couple of mounting points right here, one on there and then one on the bottom here the headlights used to go to. So that'll mount right there for the relay, and the wires will go in both of these rubber grommet holes over here, and that's where I am with that. Anyway, moving on. All right, so continuing with the wiring situation here for the nose and the headlight doors. I have a simple two-prong plug here that enables the nose to be unplugged, and these two wire chase or wire holders are just basically just something that could be unwrapped very easily, or unclipped I should say, and that would, you'd basically unplug this and then tuck it into the nose before the nose gets removed, so that all rides with it. This is also going to enable me to make up another small harness, so when they do the paint work that they can operate the nose separately from the car, which means it'll be connected like it is right now to a separate battery. The way I've done this is I've got this is going to go to this lug here, which is straight to the battery. This takes this whole system completely out of the electrical system of the car. It's a separate circuit directly connected to the battery. It's got a fusible 20 amp link in here, and it'll ground right down here to the body. There's two body grounds right there. So right now I have it just to test it, set up to this battery here, and it's hooked to the switch that's in the car, and So the switch is live. So that's the headlight doors opening up over here. And I'll go and kill that switch now. And as you can see, they're closed now. At any rate, so that's the test of the system. Now I'm going to go ahead and hook it, the finish hook up over here, and close this box up here. Anyway, that's where I'm at with this. All right, so that's what it's looking like, all buttoned up. Covers on the relay box there, and everything's tied in. It's time to make the cover for this point to this point to neaten up this whole area over here. So that's what I'm working on now. Okay, so I'm drilling out these fastener holes in this surround here. Now on this top side, the radiator support core, on the bottom side are all the brake lines coming across there, tucked neatly underneath there. So in order not to accidentally hit them with the drill, I just basically, this is an old trick I use, is basically take a dowel and drill a hole in the center, and basically it creates a stop, a depth stop, so I just don't go too far, and take it easy with the drill. Anyway, I thought I'd show you that. Alright, I decided to break this panel up into 3 pieces, because in order to go straight across, you see how this arcs off over here, and this wants to basically be flat and straight, and then it arcs off over here. So I'm going to have a little step down piece on either side over here to accommodate that little change in direction. You can see that whole radiator core support does the same thing. It kind of arcs off. So in order to accommodate that, I have to make a secondary piece on both sides. Anyway, that's how that's going. Okay, so I'm using this pre-painted aluminum to 40 thousandths aluminum to make this piece out of, and I needed to make these transition pieces, which obviously I'm not going to weld it together, and I don't want to rivet it together to make it a cleaner look. So I'm making these transition pieces out of several pieces. You can see this is one piece on the top, or 2 pieces on the top side, 1 piece to create this little rim here, and the side of the transition piece, and then these top pieces. This it's that red automotive 3M trim tape. It's when it's brand new, it's pretty good. When it's dried out, it's not that good. But I've got some new stuff here, and it's really good stuff when it's, like I said, when it's brand new. This is really sticky. The trick to it, though, for the most part, is when you're sticking it down, it'll stick to non-porous surfaces. Clean the surfaces off with acetone. It strips it out and creates like a primer for the surface. Once you do that, this stuff really, it grabs really fast and hard. So that's what I've done here, and it's a pretty good solution for what I'm doing right now, I can tell you that. Anyway, just thought I'd show you that. Non-porous surfaces, like I said, it's not that great. Wood or anything like that would have debris. I would just pick it up and come off. But anything that's like slick, well, I say that slick plastic. It really doesn't stick to ABS plastic like nothing else sticks to ABS plastic. But regardless of that, other than that, like metals, anything that's painted surfaces, especially painted surfaces, nice and slick, clear coat or something like that, this stuff will really grab on. All right, so this is what it's looking like with the transition pieces put on. Gives me 3 surfaces to attach the other end pieces on there, and we'll just make them skim by these bolts that hold the fenders on, and we'll move on to the next thing after that. I always forget how cool it looks with that dash. That newer dash, or the newest dash that they came out with these cars, is really, that's really nice. Anyway, moving on to this. This is what it looks like with the closure in. have to pull it back out and give it a dusting with some trim black, which I don't have right now, because it comes. This is, there's little nicks and stuff to, from when they handle the material. It's not perfect, so I give it one coat of trim black, give it a little more durable finish. Anyway, that is what it's looking like. It's a thing of beauty, that engine. I can tell you that much. That's a spectacular view right there. This is as far as I can go this week. A lot of little BS, as they say, but it's all got to get done. Also, what I did back here is I glued in this little D bulb here that seals up to the back here, and that pretty much buttons up most of what I have to do here in the front that I can think of. I still have to make an auxiliary harness so that so Chris can operate the doors of the nose off the car on the bench. That way, when he's bondoing everything together, he can run them up and down and get what he likes out of the body work. Anyway, those parts are still coming. And that's about where I'm going to land for this week. And I appreciate everybody for watching. And I will see you on the next one.